Are you looking for a place to meet like-minded people? Perhaps you're a light worker looking for a safe place to share your thoughts and services. We've got a place for you. IntuiTalks.com. Join for free, post updates, blogs, create and join groups via website or radio or class package. The possibilities are endless. Join the all-spiritual, all-under-one roof network, www.IntuiTalks.com.
And that was our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Jenny Satori. That's just fantastic. I'm Dorothy-holder. Welcome to A Psychic Affair. And today I've started a new program which I'd been meaning to do for some time and hadn't quite got around to because I'd been doing so many other things. Isn't she gorgeous? Her voice is so perfect for the voiceovers. You know, she's got another calling out there if she wants to use it. The Astrology Monthly, I did this on Hangouts. I did it for a long time, and I got a huge following over there of over 1,000 a month listening to these things, more than 1,500 to 2,000 in some cases. And when I came to IntuiTalks, I kind of got a bit bumbled between the two of them, so I sort of stopped it, and now it's time to reassert it right here, right now. We have the tools to do that in a way that's absolutely wonderful. So what the methodology here is, I've already pulled the cards for the month. I won't be pulling cards individually, but there's a big but. When we get to your sun sign, if you're present in the show, if you're live here, you can ask how this affects you. You can call in if you want to take that into a bit of a deeper level, or you can ask when I get to your sun sign, but please refrain from asking at the beginning for your sun sign. It's going to be at the end because I will forget. And that's just the way it is, folks. So let me know if you are called in. Obviously, I'll pick you up, but if you can let me know if you're in the chat exactly what month you're talking about when we get to the month so that you're nice and in front of my face. You can PM me. The chances are pretty good I'll go sailing on past, but I do see the little orange thingy up there and usually have a pretty good idea of what's going on. So let's get this show on the road. What we've got up out of the gate, and I've done this incorrectly this time because I was running it with the birthdays, but today I'm starting with Aquarius because I forgot to set the slides, as it were, to the right month. The birthday month will be started in every month. Thank you so much, Jenny. So the main influences, I do these by intuition, then I draw the cards, and I usually do that for my own personal enjoyment because I like to see how the cards are reflecting what I've actually already written in there, so it's kind of good fun for that. But the main influence for Aquarius is distraction, and that just means you'll find it difficult to complete projects, get things finished, or you'll be in the ooh shiny mode where you might just wander off to the very next most interesting thing that takes your attention. What to watch out for is jealousy. Now, the what to watch out for frame in all of these can be you or somebody else. So you may need to watch for somebody else's jealousy. Be aware that that's what it is. Or you may have jealousy issues yourself. So why I've separated that from strength and weakness is because it may not come from you, but you will need to respond to it. And knowing what that means for you is kind of powerful in itself. So getting a little heads up before things go around and knowing what they are right at the outset. I can remember probably about 7 months ago, a friend of mine was talking to me about how upset she was with her husband because of something he'd said and how it made her feel. And then later on, I went fishing with said husband, and he happened to say something along the lines of, I don't know what's wrong with blah, blah, blah. He said, I haven't even done anything wrong, and she's not talking to me, and she's giving me a hard time. And I said, oh, well, I can tell you right now that she feels that you belittled her in front of somebody else. You know what he did? He just went straight back to her and apologized, and she comes to me a couple of days later, and she says, unbelievable. He actually apologized for something. The thing here is recognizing that the other person doesn't necessarily know what's going on. And so if you can't communicate that, or if you're not aware of it, it can get things can get out of hand. Something that should have been her miffed for a little wee tiny while, if she'd said to him, this is how it made me feel. He didn't want her to feel like that. You know, they've been married a long time. He didn't want her to feel belittled. It wasn't his intention. So the same goes for what to watch out for. And if you want to really get a handle on these, also check out your wife, your husband, your kids, your auntie, your boss, your co-worker, not necessarily all of them, but anybody that matters right now. And in particular, if you know the sun sign of somebody you're having difficulty with, or you are going to be heavily involved with over the next 4 weeks, over September, this is September only, it's worth having a quick sticky beat because it can change your approach and make things work a little bit better. So jealousy is what to watch out for, Aquarius, and that means you may need to have a wee moment with those around you. Your strength is invention. That means that you'll be able to come up with new ideas very quickly, or you'll be able to invent solutions to problems that may have been around for a while. Your weakness is observance, so you may miss clues, which is probably goes along with the distraction as well as the main influence of the month. When those two are together, it's a double whammy for you. So expect that when somebody comes out and goes, well, I'm really upset about that, I'd expect the Aquarius to go, I had no idea, didn't notice. But don't take it personally and don't be hurt. The Page of Cups is a self-focus. Now, we do need to do that. It's not always about vanity. It's only about an issue if it's too long, held too long, or if everybody else becomes secondary to you. On all levels, that is, not just in a particular moment. But the Page of Cups does give us an opportunity to look at ourselves and see ourselves as well as to be ourselves. So it's a valuable card. The Ten of Cups is really just seeking, just being happy. So when we're just trying to be happy, that could probably lead to the distractions as well. Like, this makes me happy right now, that makes me happy in 5 minutes, and that shiny thing. Now, the jealousy, that came out straight out with the Four of Pentacles card. That's feeling threatened, which means it's just as likely it comes from you as anybody else, Aquarius. Feeling threatened, feeling there's too much competition. Take note of that, and when you're feeling that feeling, just remember it's yours, and then take steps to determine whether there's a reason for you to feel that way, like a good reason, not just, she's pretty, he's handsome, not just something you suspect, etc. There are times when jealousy is a necessity to drive us into an action, when something's actually going on. Feeling threatened and feeling jealous are two very similar, if not the same, emotions. Six of Pentacles is being generous, allowing others to make offerings, so it's good for team efforts, it's good for teamwork. Generosity isn't just about money, but it can mean that money comes your way, or that you get approved for that loan, that kind of thing. So it's an interesting month for you. I don't see a whole lot going on for you, Aquarius, as it stands, but there's a few of those emotional things that you may get a little bit caught up in. Then we move on to Aries. Now, Aries, I say Aries one breath, Aries the next. I've always done it for some bizarre reason. Main influence is details. That means details will be important to you. As a main influence, they will be important to you either for forgetting them, not taking notice of them, or because you'll notice details. So it could be a bit nitpicky if you're not careful, as it's over the month's influence. What to watch out for is half-truths. Now, if details is important to you and people are giving you half-truths, or you're sharing half-truths, you'll get caught, because the devil will be in those details for you this month. Your strength is commitment. Being a traditional sign to start and not really finish, or to get sidetracked, anything that you commit to this month, or anything that's important to you this month, you will feel a need or a desire to commit to it in the long term. So a lot of Arians will be looking at commitments to career, perhaps a schooling, taking on board those things that you know will serve you well in the long term, engagements, that kind of thing. And your weakness is losing faith. Now, that's usually a self-value thing, or just feeling like things are just not going to work out, or I'm not good enough, those kind of feelings. So you might need to address that a little bit this month, so that you don't get caught out. We've got the Four of Cups reversed, which usually means that there's a little bit of naysaying, there's stuff going on in your ears. Because it's reversed, it will get you down, which could be the losing faith. What I would really like to advise is that if you've got a person doing that to you who is always doing it to you, you may need to just not tell them the stuff that you're doing, not tell them of your plans if you like them and want them to stay in your life. If it's a partner, you may need to sit down and have a wee chat about your future. You may need to sit down and determine what it is that they've got an issue with. What is their insecurity? What is their problem? Okay, what's going on there? And if it's an ongoing thing, it might be time to really settle down. Now, when people are in your ear all the time, it's very hard to stay positive with your ideas and with your dreams and your goals. The Seven of Swords, there's your half-truths. That's guile. That's deception. It's people not necessarily disclosing. Now, that can be you. Remember that. If you're not really being honest with somebody, you may need to rethink your position as to why you aren't. If you're scared of a refusal, then you can't really, in all good honesty, disarm somebody else simply by not telling them what they need to know. It's a bad strategy that always comes back to bite you in the end. You may get what you want in the short term and lose the big prize in the long term. The Ace of Pentacles reversed means you probably have a good idea of what you want or where you want to go, where you're heading. But again, it's reversed. So you're very likely to be looking at, I know where I'm heading, but I'm not sure how, because the Ace of Pentacles is very much a decision is made. Now we just have to follow it through. It's very down to earth energy. And the reversal, it's I know what I want, but maybe I'm not too sure how to get there. The Six of Wands suggests that you're going to enjoy, congratulations this month, rewards for efforts put out there, that people will pat you on the back. They will acknowledge you. They will say, yes, you've done well. Now, this can be verbal in that way, but it can also be through remuneration. You could get rewards through increased wages, promotion. If you've written a book, it could sell a few copies. You might find that you suddenly get a write-up. You get that recognition, that little bit of acclaim, and that will spur you on. Now, with losing faith as a weakness, you probably need this energy this month to just keep buoying you along, but try not to let everything get you down. We move on to Cancer. Cancer's main influence is career. Thinking about career, thinking about where you're going, it will occupy your mind, and you may find yourself in a position to make a choice or feel a need to make a choice. As a main influence, it's not always carried out. It's not always something that becomes an action. It's just something we notice or something that's around us, and it can manifest, absolutely can manifest. But we could be preoccupied with it as a precursor to something we do down the track. What to watch out for? Unreliability. That can be you being unreliable or people being unreliable for you. So if somebody says they're going to be there for you, they're going to do something for you, double check with them, give them a reminder. If they're going to be a bit unreliable, sometimes it's only about giving them that call the day before, sending them a text to say, don't forget, before they go waltzing off and do something else. It also gives them no wiggle room to lie and say they just forgot if you happen to be reminding them, right? So it's an interesting area to think about. Your nurturing is your strength this month, your ability to nurture yourself and to nurture others. Encouraging others is an amazing thing to have the capacity for. And when you've got that energy around you and you start to use it, it always has rewards. And the weakness is self-discipline, so expect to maybe overspend, overeat, over anything, drink too much, have hangovers. As a monthly area, that means it can hit you repeatedly through a month. It can hit you in a big way you don't usually enter into. That's all of these, the strengths and the weaknesses, and the what to watch out. They become a prominent moment in your month, either because it's a big moment or because it's repeated. We've got the Ten of Wands reversed, which is feeling overburdened. It's an interesting thing. So it's sort of like I've got what I want. I'm as far as I can go where I'm at. Now, it's not a question of what. It's just like everything's piling down on top of me. That can be the responsibility of the job, which may you want to change career. You can be trying to pay all your bills and finding that you've bought the house, but now you've got to service the mortgage and that kind of thing. So the Ten of Wands is having got what you wanted, feeling overburdened and maybe not necessarily coping too well. And that could be the self-discipline too. If you overspend this month, it's going to stress you out. The King of Pentacles reversed, we're in the money zone, aren't we? Because when the King of Pentacles reversed, we expect all kind of glitches with finances. So do pay attention to what's going on with you this month. And if you have an urge to spend $100 on a pair of shoes or to, I don't know, what do blokes spend money on? If you're a guy, if you happen to want to buy that fishing rod, maybe think twice about it right now and make sure that you have got the money to do that without compromising something else. It could be that the rates bill comes in or the power bill comes in straight after you've spent it. The Six of Pentacles, there we go, needing that generosity because we've got this pentacles and burdens going on and self-discipline is an issue. I would suggest that that's maybe needing to buy yourself a little bit of time. Maybe it's time, a need to sort a few things out where somebody lends you some cash, or gives you the space of time to pay what you need to pay. The Empress is all about home and hearth. It's about feathering one's nest. She's about gathering one's energy. That's the nurture card, really. With the Empress in there, you're going to be happiest at home. You're going to spend a lot of time, or wish that you were at home a lot, no matter what you're doing. You're going to enjoy those things that home gives you. Hiya, Darlene. Great to see you there. We move on now to Capricorn. Main influences, fun. So this is too, if you know a Capricorn, or you happen to be married to a Capricorn, if they want to just pop on out there and have a bit of fun and you're really wanting to stay at home, they might go anyway, even if they don't usually. So it could leave you feeling a bit miffed. If you know that this is the main influence for them at the moment, you may need to think about, should I just step out into that realm? Should I go there and give them what they want here, even though it's not quite what I want? Mostly you'll enjoy it once you get there. Having said that, if fun is the main influence, that anybody that's got anything going, Capricorn will say yes, 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 yes all month long. What to watch out for would be false claims. And I think this is really important for Capricorn, because this is kind of the thing that Capricorn, no, not yet. This is the kind of thing that Capricorn feels to the heart, to the quick. You know, when people aren't quite honest with them or let them down, Capricorns take that very personally. So if you happen to be a Capricorn, better that you don't trust something that you didn't trust to start with. Does that make sense? You know, sometimes we sort of go, oh yeah, the chances of that are pretty slim, but we go along with it, you know. The strength will be a big heart. So whatever's done to you this month, you'll probably forgive it fairly quickly. And the weakness is forgetfulness. So write things down, keep lists. Oh, gee, I thought you were talking to me. I'm just kidding. So do remember too that if I come across your sign, and especially for next month, if you don't know how it works yet, when we do this, it'll be the first show of every month. It's not the first of the month, but whatever Wednesday is the first Wednesday of the month, we'll be doing these monthly influences. So if you want to be personalized, if you want a personalized input there, then all you need to do is pop into the show or ring up and let me know which sun sign is yours, or let me know in the chat when your sun sign comes up that you would like to know how these influences will affect you personally. Now again, we've got the Ten of Pentacles, and I did notice in the draws for today that this came up through a number of signs. So there's a lot of desire or need for peace, or there's a lot of good energy around for contentment. It's about how we use that and whether we take that on board. So the Ten of Pentacles is enjoying family, enjoying friends, all of the good stuff. Now sometimes the Ten of Pentacles can lead to complacency, and when we start to feel a bit complacent, we may need to think a little bit about that. You know, hiya Dolores, welcome. The Eight of Wands reverse says, you know, you're going to have trouble firing things up, and it might be easy for you to be a bit intimidated. Remember, what to watch out for could come from you. So don't offer your services when you haven't really got time to put it out there. Don't be the one that lets somebody else down. And think twice too. If you say you can do something, make sure you can do it, that you are capable of it. There will be this whole energy that you have to resolve if you don't. Now we've got the Four of Swords, which is consider things carefully, which goes well with that energy. Take your time to make sure that you know what you're doing, if not necessarily learn what it is you need to do. And the Two of Wands does say, I know my next plan of action. I know what it is I've got to do next. It just hasn't been done yet. So there's a bit of reluctance, perhaps procrastination in your month, Capricorn. Bearing in mind that false claims may come from somebody else, it might be that because of a false claim that you enter into the game. So I would really caution you against doing that. It would be a bit of a challenge. We have Gemini. Gemini is a fantastic energy. Travel, conflict. So the main influence is travel. So expect little short trips, if not big trips, coming up in September. You'll be called upon to go to places, or you may desire to just pop out for the weekend. But it's there, it's on your mind all the time, and you may start plotting and planning the big event that's going to happen later in the year or at another time. But you will enjoy that. Anything to do with travel will blow your skirt up this period through September. Watch out for conflict. And, I mean, it's in those cards. Three Swords in your layout is a big deal. I want to point out at this time too that IntuiTalks.com shows, when you come into the visual, for those that are listening on Spreaker, iHeart, I'm on iHeart, Laugh, YouTube, Kiwi 6, iTunes, and there's another one, Google Play. For all of those listening over there, if you pop on over here, you can watch the slides. Now, when you load the show, it doesn't buffer and stream like a YouTube show. The whole thing loads in entirety. It takes a little bit longer, but all of these slides are off to the left. You can just go down, and once you click your own sun sign or the sun signs that you're interested in, your family, whoever that might be, it instantly loads that portion. So you hear me, you see the slide, and you may even see the chat, or you will see the chat if that's of any interest to you through that time. So what to watch out for is conflict. Because we've got 3 swords aspected here, I would say really watch out for conflict, because it's what to watch out for, and it's all through your cards that I've drawn. You may be the perpetuator of it as well as the receiver of it, but here I'll give you a few things to perhaps think twice about so you don't enter into unnecessary conflict. The strength is in the details. You will notice details. So when you are in conflict with somebody else, if they're wrong, you'll be able to back that up with the details. Your weakness will be largesse. So this is exaggeration, right? This is a little bit out there. So do think quite carefully about that. If you're in high spirits, sometimes things come out of your mouth and promises are made. We've got the 7 of Swords, which is stealth. You know, this is a bit of deception there. It's hiding the truth. It's guile. That is to say, I will say that you are handsome or pretty to get what I want, as opposed to me believing that. You know, you could be the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Not that I've got anything against the Notre Dame Hunchback, as it were, but you know what I'm saying. We've got right next to it the 9 of Swords, which is anxiety. Now, anxiety is always going to accompany something we're not doing, something we're doing wrong, something we should be doing, right? Something we think we should be doing, or something we shouldn't, or think we shouldn't be doing, whichever those play. Now, it can be actual, as in I know I should be doing this, but it can also be in one's mind that nobody else is really concerned about that. But if we put a bit of stealth and we put the anxiety card together, I would say be very careful about any dishonesties you enter into at this stage through September at all. We've got the Queen of Wands. She's cutting. You know, she's got like no emotion in it. She's like, wham, thank you. So you may find yourself in a position where there is something to deal with in the long term. I would say that this is a setup that if you've got a weakness in your relationship, it's going to come under some serious conflict. If you've got a weakness in a business partnership, you're going to end up with conflict. It's a really challenging energy that I'm looking at here. And with the 8 of Cups, you're being asked to let things go. So that suggests too that if you get into a bit of a fight with somebody you care about, or if they say something that's damaging or you say something damaging to them, apologize, do whatever's necessary, let it go so it doesn't follow you further into the future. Let September stay in. What is that saying? What happens in September stays in September if you manage this energy correctly. Yeah, that's all I got for you. If anybody knows a Gemini, just for the moment, if it sounds too good to be true, just take it with a grain of salt and don't buy into it so that you are hating them for the next 6 months, especially if they are rather good friends with you, if they're your partner. Everybody has glitches in the works. I will actually answer that, Darlene, because for the many of these online sun sign readings, they will say go and check out your rising sign. Quite frankly, it's too big for both. If you did this and you did your rising sign, it's kind of confusing, and most of them really are like that. The rising sign is a structural influence, and that means it has an influence above and beyond that comes out at certain times. And if it's in conflict with your basic or your main sun sign, then usually what it does is it flares out and, say, for example, pushes you, say it's all Aries and Taurus, and your Aries is your rising sign. Most of the time you're just Taurian, right? You start and finish things, you plod along, and now and again you just got to do this, you just got to do that when that influence is strong. If you've got a natal chart, then the months where it is strong is the time to double check on that one. The months when that influence is really powerful. And then only if it's in conflict with your main sun sign. It's like an added thing rather than a mainstay. The main issues or the main information, say here is the main influences travel for Gemini. If you've got, say, a Scorpion rising, then that can be not an issue. It won't affect it in any way, shape, or form, if that makes sense. But if you've got the conflict to watch out for with a Scorpion rising and a Scorpion featured month, say moving further down the track to October, November, where the influence is strong for Scorpio, then you know that that's something to really watch out for. So it's not the whole thing as such. The strength that we've got is details, largesse, sorry, that's where we go. Yes. So we've got the Eight of Cups, which is about letting things go. Now, that can be a belief. So if some of this conflict is old, it's over old issues, it could be a good time to just sort it out, let it go, and move on from there for you Geminis. So now we've got Leo. Now, Leo, we've got socializing. So this month, everybody go find a Leo to play with. They'll be up for anything that goes. They're the one you best ring if you want somebody to go and have a coffee, go and have a drink, go and have dinner, want a mate to go to a party. They won't be saying no this month. Now, I think that then, was it Capricorn? One of the other signs was social as well. They were just all shiny, anything that looked like fun. So these two would have a blast this month. So this is another way you can use that. You can look at who are your friends that are most likely to be in the same frame as you are at the moment, or family members even. Watch out for the finances. Of course, if you're socializing, I gather you'd be spending, Leo. And your strength is detachment, which I quite like for you, because you can get, a little bit over-invested emotionally in certain things. So detachment's quite a nice energy that allows you to sort of look down over things and see them for what they are, which means you can have more fun and you're going to be less distressed by things. Your weakness, overcommitting, so you may find yourself racing all over the show in September. I don't see that as a falsehood or any real major issue, actually. It just seems that you'll be flitting around quite a bit as you get caught up in all the things you've said yes to, and not wanting to let people down. You won't. The Queen of Cups is right there. There's that nice emotional energy, but it's also very intuitive energy. She's very fluid kind of moment. So it will be very much of, this feels good, I'm doing it. If that feels right, that's my friend. I like you suddenly. It's a very nice social energy. I do have the Four of Pentacles, some jealousy in there. Because we've got detachment, I would suggest that you can view that actually from above, which is a nice energy. That means you can see you'll be able to see in the moment, I'm just being jealous, if you know what I mean. So rather than buying into it and becoming a slave to it or part of a whole energy, you'll be able to see what it is, where it's coming from. It's a nice time to work with that if you have periods of this that are regular. The High Priestess and the Queen of Cups together, what more can I say? We've got knowing in place. So that means you'll just know this is going to be fine, that's going to be fine, everything's going to be just fine. We haven't got a good judgment card, which could be the overcommitting thing, but I don't see it as a problem with the other cards you've got. So if you've got your intuition, you just know something good's going to happen, you might follow that through, and so what if it doesn't? It's not a big deal. You may not necessarily experience the idea of consequence, that is the hangover after the party kind of a thought. When you get there, you may think, bugger. I wish I had thought about that side of things, or how you're getting home, or how much money's in the bank. But it doesn't feel like a bad month for you, so we'll leave that right there. I just want to party with Leo, so I'm going to shoot off after the show and find me all the Leos I can and spend September partying with them. Libra, your main influence is luck this month, good fortune. It can be by you to others, by the things that you say, and you can be the receiver of this. Luck is usually something we receive, so I'm going to pop it in there. As a main influence, you can experience it on many levels. The important thing to understand about luck is, of course, that luck isn't just something we go seeking, it's something that lands in our lap. This is you, Christy. It lands in our lap. And Michelle, is that right? She's in private message, so I have to go click. She's calling in. So Michelle's calling in. Call in Michelle, and she's going to ask about her own sign. So I'll get through these first. What to watch out for is superficiality. That could come from you, and it could come from others. Now, I don't see superficiality as a serious issue. Not really. It's only if you. That's what that is. That was my reminder for my show, so I've got to adjust that, but then I have to put it back soon. Do you know what? It's September the 1st. Is it the 1st here or the 2nd? Yes, September the 1st. In 3 weeks' time, New Zealand goes to daylight saving on the 22nd or the 23rd. I'm giving you fair warning, everybody, because we all know what happens. Twice a year without fail, right? Twice a year. I know. Poor Jenny goes, uh-oh, here we are. I will forget. No, I don't forget when mine goes. It's blasted. My computer changes automatically. It's everybody else's that I struggle with. But because mine changes, that means my times change for you. Confusion reigns. And not only do I get confused, but I'm sure there are as many Americans and Canadians and English people just as confused as I am, which is pretty funny. So the superficiality to watch out for is people just laying on placebos. You know, if you're hearing the words and you just don't feel the energy that follows through with it, acknowledge it for what it is and don't try to sort of say, well, it'll be all right. You know, you need to find what's more deep in there. Let's get past that kind of a moment. Your strength is efficiency. You can get a lot done. You can do it quickly, and therefore that's a really good strength. That means use September wisely. Use it to implement things, sort things out, get things going, sort yourself out there. The weakness is the word risk. Now, risk, I wanted to put gambling, and then I reduced it to risk. I think it's in life in general, not gambling per se. So as a weakness, you've got these two things here. You've got luck and you've got risk. Now, luck isn't always good luck. So luck, I need to remind everybody, can be called good luck or bad luck, yeah? So it just means that it seems to come at you rather than from you, or that's the feeling around luck, isn't it, that it's piled upon us one way or the other. The Knight of Pentacles is right up there, which of course is your efficiency. That's doing the mundane, doing the things that you know need to be done, getting on with business, doing the things that other people might all whine about, but by doing them, what feels like a fairly slow, unimaginative or boring pace of life, very quickly you find yourself with an accumulated body of work behind you that you can feel proud of. We've got the Nine of Swords. There's a bit of anxiety. So if you're going to be taking risks, it's going to be like a seesaw. The more risk you take, right, it goes down, the higher the anxiety levels. There's a but. The world is at your feet at the moment. You've got all of the things that you know. That's what the world is. She's got every representation, the emotions, which is the cups, the pentacles, which is material things in life. We've got wands, which is action, and swords, which of course is it's a conflicted energy, but actually it's calculating, it's analysis, it's thinking, it's all of those things together are whole. It makes a person whole. So that's there for you. So it might be worth taking some risk, but because it's a weakness, you may need to just determine what a worthwhile risk is. Determine that, right? It's just like before you go to an auction, always know the maximum amount of money you want to spend. And that's the same if you bet on a horse as well. If you're going to take risks, if you're looking for lady luck, don't go spending $100 when you can only afford to spend $20 with the possibility of no return. We've got the reversed Wheel of Fortune. Now, while many see that as poor fortune, I really don't. I see this as a timing option. Now, the Wheel of Fortune, when we've got the three time spinners in this, you can't see it, she's upside down. You can see that the person or you, the fool, is on the wheel. It can be going up, it can be going down. In its normal upright position, I'm always saying something along the lines that, you know, if you're having good luck right now, the chances are that's turning, and it may turn into a negative position. If you're having bad luck, the chances are that it's going to go the opposite way. In its reverse position, it's very hard for you to see the chance of a change of fortune, because that's what the card represents more than anything, not good luck or bad luck, but a change in fortunes. Whether that's good or bad depends on decisions you make. You're weaving this. Now, time is also woven into fortune. And so if you can have a look, if this was up the right way, you'd see this bit down here is actually looking through the cave. So the person can't see the good fortune in the sunshine. They're just stuck in this mild mind-altered or mind idea. I'm going to take Michelle. Michelle's call. Michelle, is that you?
Yes. Hey, Dorothy. How are you?
Very good. Hello. So this for you. Sorry, darling.
Greetings from Florida.
Greetings from Florida. Florida. Well, what are you doing in Florida? Is that where you live?
Yes, that's where I live.
Oh. Well, I did not know that. Why did I think you lived somewhere else?
Because I want to live in Spain, that's why.
Oh, that'll be it. Okay, let's have a look at this. So you want to see your Libra influences and how they affect you personally this month, correct?
Yes, please.
The very first, well, September. I know you're not quite there yet, but for September, the way this influences you is I just see the requirement for you to get down and dirty and just do the hard yards. That is work, work, work. While, of course, working is normal for most people, this feels to be so productive that you just pile through a mountain amount of work, which is quite easy for you to do, but you will need to also think and focus on sleep, and you will need to think and focus on rest. That's you personally. I've got the anxiety levels up there, but I do think that you may have two people in particular over the September period who tell you porkies, who are really not telling you the truth. So you may need to really be on the alert for that. Now, these don't feel like expected lies. These don't feel like the people that you would expect to be untrue. So there may be people you don't know very well, or there may be people who you haven't experienced that from in the past. So just be on the alert. Now, it is superficiality as opposed to a deliberate misleading you, I suppose, but it's in there. So that might mean that they tell you a part of the story and it looks good on the surface, but you need to look deeper. That will be really crucial for you. There's an upswing on your good fortune wheel. As soon as I look at that, I want to spin the wheel around for you and go, yes, we're coming up. Now, coming up sometimes feels like hard work too. While we think, oh, well, it's going up, then how on earth is that going to be hard work? We're going to good fortune. But we get there by our efforts, don't we? We sometimes get there because we've done a bit of stuff in the past that comes back to reward us. It doesn't happen by itself necessarily. And so it can feel a little bit harder, but actually it's like inchworms, inch by inch we get there. The only other thing I've got for you in September with regards to this reading that's really personal to you and separate from everything else is I have a woman swooping in, and she swoops, and I can feel it almost like a, should I say witch on a broom, swooping on in and landing right in front of you, and she's sort of like this big whirlwind of activity, big whirlwind of stuff, and then she's gone again as quick as she came in. I don't know what that's with regards to, but it's almost like she turns you topsy-turvy for a minute, but it's refreshing and it feels actually pretty good. It's not a negative for you, so I hope you enjoy that. Do you have any questions?
Wow, thank you. I do have a question. I'm looking at different aspects of employment. Can you give me just a little guidance with that?
My first thought with that would be I've got time. I haven't got that around September. So I would suggest that you will be looking at something more towards the end of November. So we'll let that sit for now since I'm trying to stay right in September for you. But because you've got that whole doing the mundane, getting the job done, moving forward, I would suggest that whatever you're doing now towards that end will pay off. How's that? Because the Knight of Pentacles is always going to be about, in the end, he accumulates a massive amount, a small fortune actually, by just doing the deeds, doing the jobs, tending to what is needed and necessary rather than getting all excited about the things that look glamorous. He's sticking with it, right? Mm-hmm. That's the kind of energy we're looking at there. Okay?
Okay. Well, that was great. Thank you very much, Dorothy. Night.
You're very welcome. Night. And we've got, I was going to say, Christy, this is how that will affect you also. Christy, for you, this whole energy for Libra for September will pretty much be one where I think that you will just find people are a bit unbelievable this month. There tends to be that energy where people are just saying stuff, and as you look at it, whether it's social media, people you know, or otherwise, it doesn't seem to matter. Well, oh, she's on the phone. Hang on, I'm coming. Slow me. Hello, hey, Christy.
Hey, Dorothy. I had to do it twice, but I finally made it.
Whee! Welcome. So did you hear that little bit so far so I can carry on?
Yes.
Yes. So with that, Christy, there's that whole idea of things being, just too plastic, I guess, and you'll look at it and there's that whole feeling I've got around it is you sort of, how you just sort of sit back and look at it and think, oh my gosh, it's just all the same, and there's that feeling for you. You find it quite jaundiced. With that though, you will do And again, we've got that plodding energy. One foot after the other is what it feels like for you. I've just got to put one foot after the other, do the next thing, get up, make the coffee, go do this, clean the house, go do that. And it feels like a month like that for you. With that, you will also find yourself looking to find a way to expand your potentials, I suppose. What I'm getting with you in September is that you'll be looking at opportunities. So while you're seeing same old, you're also looking for something that will help you get a little bit of a take on life, something that's a bit more satisfying, a little bit more exciting. I don't see you finding it in September. In that respect, I don't see that at all. But what I see you doing is just checking things out, looking for something really, it feels like a little bit different. The good fortune or the luck aspect for you, it does feel like actually accidental communications and people that you meet. You have this little conversation and it's like, oh, that answered the question I was thinking about. You know, those kind of synchronistic moments that just make you feel kind of nice as you go forward. You know, they're just like, oh yeah, I get that. I do see some work changes around you through the month too that just make you feel a lot better about how things are going. That's the Wheel of Fortune. It's coming around. So you will feel more that you're getting what you deserve, if that makes sense, or that you're being treated better. So that's the whole September energy, is you starting to feel that you are being respected, treated better, that kind of feeling. So the good fortune wheel starts to move quite nicely for you. Interestingly enough, as I say that, Christy, do not gag, cough, or laugh. I see like a big, huge, you know, those big, huge cartwheels, you know, from the old age wagons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing your wheel like that, like it's creaky, it's wooden and it's heavy, and I'm like, oh, I'm pulling it around. So I would say that your Knight of Pentacles and your Good Fortune cards, I can cut straight across to those, and I can say they're connected, that it's actually through solid, hard effort, or not hard, but solid effort, that wheel just moves around into a position that you're much happier with. And September will give you the opportunity to actually see that you've got more choices than perhaps you normally see you have. That's the World card in play for you. I just see you thinking, well, I can do this, or I could do that. You know, so you're sort of lighting up on different areas or different ideas that you may have not felt were quite right for you in the past. So I like that. That sounds very good for you.
Yeah, thank you, Dorothy.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in, Christy. And I'll just put you on mute again as we move on past Libra. We move straight on to Pisces. Hang on, not yet. Oh, sorry, private message. Pisces. Virgo's last today. Pisces. Income and career is your main focus this month, and we've got a few conflicting energies around for you, and so that's what to watch out for, is conflict. Because it's not in your weakness area, it could come at you, or it could be initiated by others, or you may flare up in old situations. We've got humor as your strength, so let's hang around and play with the Pisces, but let's not argue with them. And the weakness is emotionalism, so you may find that that's actually what creates the conflict for you. If you happen to be menopausal, just saying. Okay, just saying. Don't get all up in arms. Don't get all head up. If you just happen to be menopausal, take a minute to step back and recognize that in itself gives you no necessary reason to kaboom anybody. You know, it just flares up out of nowhere. And so you may need to just practice going and having a nice cold, icy glass of water and relaxing. And I've got Darlene. Would love to know the connection to me personally for school. Yep, when we get there. Perfect. And see, I can't read all these messages. So with that, the emotionalism could be a little bit of a challenge. Now, we've got the Tower. Now, the interesting thing when we've got conflict and we've got the Tower is it's not harsh, but just in the main window would be great. So just, it wasn't just you, by the way. That's why. I'm like, oh, and I'm me. I have to go look at them, right? I can't see bright orange thingies up there and leave them be. I've got, go look. It's quite funny, but it's my fault because I said you could do that. So there you go. Serves me right. Pisces. So the Tower, is about things that aren't necessarily well structured. And because you've got income and career as the main influence, you've got conflict, you may decide to change your job if things aren't going terribly well, or you may have an argument, or you may, an argument, when I say that, isn't always verbal. You can argue in your mind, right? Who hasn't done that? Somebody's upset you, and in your mind you're like, thinking of all the things you would like to say, but you're not in an environment where you can say it. So they become this internal energy that builds up and builds up and builds up because it hasn't got an outlet. Now, when there's a genuine issue, as in the tower, where the structure's not too good anymore, whatever worked before is starting to fall apart, maybe the core group has changed, different bosses, different employees, all sorts of things can change. That changes the dynamic. Sometimes you need that conflicted feeling to drive you to something different. The thing will fall down with or without you. The tower suggests there's an inevitable quality around us. That means if it's a relationship area that's got conflict, it's got core issues that need to be dealt with if it is not going to fall over. The King of Swords is the master of analysis, so you'll be able to think your way through things, and as income and career is the main influence for you, you'll be working out the best way to get what you want, to get where you want, and to do it the way you want. It'll be a big, powerful energy for you to be walking on through there. Now, the the Knight of Cups offers the emotional aspect for you today. And I think that, the Knight of Cups is charming. So in September, Pisces, you can be charming. Again, income, career, important. You can be charming to get what you want. You can put it out there. You can decide, I can charm anybody. So it's a good time to go for job interviews. It's a good time to tell people what it is you're seeking. If you want a promotion, if you want more money, those kind of things are really powerfully aspected when the Knight walks along, because others see the Knight as the very person they want in their life right now for whatever reason. We've got a reversed Eight of Wands, which suggests things aren't going to move along as quickly as you would like, but it is here. And because it's here, and it's not the kind of a reading that we're going to look at it as a blockage because it's not in a position per se, it suggests that don't ignore that small steps will have long-term consequences in September for you. It's time to actually focus on that when you do say to somebody, I'm interested in a promotion or I'm looking for another job, that will have resounding consequences, even if they are a little bit further away than you could imagine right now. So now we're moving to Sagittarius. The main influence is new experience, and for Saggies, this will be quite a fun thing, quite a fun time. What to watch out for is naysayers, people that want to put you down, or they say you're mad if you do that, you're 110, you're stupid to jump out of a plane. Watch out for those people. If you know people that are like that, don't tell them what it is you're planning. Don't tell them you want to jump out of a plane. Don't tell them, are you Sagittarius, Dolores? Don't tell them that you want to have a wee go at something completely different, something completely new. Make sure you tell the people that are supportive, or the people that will just get fired up at the fact that you're fired up. Make sure you think twice about where you share that idea. Don't be the naysayer yourself either. Don't you be looking at something or something that somebody else is doing and always be the one that sits there and goes, oh, I'd never do that, or I wouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do that. Strength is inner resolve, and that's kind of cool, because naysayers or not, once you decide you're going to do something in September, it's as good as done. And a weakness is finances, so you may find that you struggle to make ends meet, or you've extended yourself to the max, or that you can't quite afford these new experiences over this particular period, but not all of them will require money, or you just might overspend. Whichever way it goes, it's not a life-changing moment with your money. You'll sort it out over the next month or two. So follow the idea or the influence within reason. So just think a little bit about it. With the Seven of Cups reversed, that means the things that you've been hoping for, praying for, putting out to the universe are not necessarily going to fly down into your lap. The Seven of Cups is about being challenged in its upright position to manifest on the planet the things that you want. When it's in reverse, it suggests you may not be going about that the right way. It suggests that to get it, you may need to do more than pray. You may need to do more than put it out to the universe. So think about the things that you can physically do to get what it is you want. Saying it is one thing, but there is usually an action required. The Ace of Cups is a new level of feeling. It's a new level of feeling that can be passionate and loving and fun. It can be a person, but sometimes we take on a new role, a new hobby. We discover something new that we want to learn and get all excited about it. That's the Ace of Cups in a nutshell. new experiences, boom. So anything that looks good to you this month is a new experience, something you haven't done before, or something that's done quite differently, you might stretch out, well, you will. You're likely to stretch out into, at least you'll want to. The Ace of Swords, she's a little bit conflicted because this is the naysayer energy. The Ace of Swords is sharing new ideas, or it's having new ideas. So when you have a new idea for something you want to do, and in particular, if you have failed in the past, the last person you tell is your biggest critic in the past, right? Because this is when we express a new idea, somebody else challenges it. They come back at us and say, well, what about, have you thought, I don't think that's a good idea. They'll come back at you in many different ways. So the Ace of Swords, though, defends herself and defends her idea. I see this as a double-edged sword, pardon the pun, it wasn't deliberate, because when somebody challenges you, it gives you an opportunity to determine whether you really want it. Have you considered all of the facts? If they're giving you facts, if they're being realistic as opposed to just dissing you or dismissing your idea, it gives you a chance to work it out, to be able to say out loud what is right about it, what it is that you want about it. So it's not one I don't usually see the Ace of Cups as, Swords as a negative card at all, unless it's in a particular grouping. I always see it as something that gives you sometimes the chance to stand up and be counted for what it is you want. Again, we've got the Ace of Pentacles reversed, and that suggests that while you might know what you want, you may not know quite the way to get it. The Ace of Pentacles is always about starting the journey. Usually there's I know what I want, that's the abundance, that's the grapes and the vines you can see in the cards. But it's Neptune. Neptune comes up out of the depths. So it's something that comes up from inside us that wants to be expressed or taken out into the world, that desire. So it's quite a lovely card. For you specifically, Dolores, what that means this month is I do think that you're going to see a number of opportunities that you would really like to jump in at and take charge of. I think for you personally, this may be 3 different things, not just one thing, and it's almost like a feast or famine. It's simply like, well, if one came at a time, it would be so easy I could do them all, but they're all here now, and I have to do them now, or I have to choose now, and that's your Ace of Pentacles struggling away there. And so it's quite an interesting thing for September that you will need to decide and pick and choose where you would have liked to have perhaps done the whole lot. Finances won't necessarily allow you to do that, but I'm always going to go with choose whatever blows your skirt up the most. Whatever gives you the Marilyn Monroe over the grid look, which does look rather temptingly nice. Woo, do whatever blows your skirt up the most and what you like the most, because the challenge is to manifest something, and that's in the cards for you this September. So you must do something if you wish to get what it is that you want. It can't be all in the thought processes, the dreams, the wishes, and the hopes. That arena has limitations. Now we're in Scorpio. Darlene. Whew. Darlene. See, I remembered. Did I? She runs and double checks. Yes. You're welcome, Dolores. I hope you enjoyed that. Scorpio, we have the main influence is support and friendships. Support and friendships. Now, for everybody listening on every other channel that this plays on, you are all listening on demand. You can pop through to www.intuitalks.com. Go to energy-therapies.intuitalks.com if you want to look at my show, this show, on demand. You can listen to it wherever you are, but you can only see it here. Once the show loads, you'll see these slides all down the side. You can pump straight to the slide that you're interested in and listen specifically to that. You don't have to fast forward, no drama as you would have to do on YouTube. La-da-da-da. That is like fantastic. That's why I love this so much. So, Scorpio, and of course those that are listening now, if you want to go back and have a re-listen, you can do the same thing. You go into the archives once the show has loaded. It takes about 30 minutes or so, and then you just click on the show. Once it opens up, all of these beautiful slides show, and you can go and listen to and look at your part. All right, no waiting. Scorpio, support and friendships will be very important for you in September. It also means that you will probably have lots of people offering you support. It will be there, suddenly coming out of the woodworks. People who've never said thank you suddenly say thank you. People who don't usually acknowledge you as a friend might call you their friend, that kind of thing. You'll find that a really big influence for you. It also means that those friendships may call on you. What to watch out for? Liars and exaggerators, this is a big deal. So when you're in the friendship zone, and people in the modern world aren't always your friends, friends, as in true friends, you may need to watch out for those that are just talking rubbish. And when I put this in here, I'm always a bit concerned about oversimplifying the energy, but actually it really is lies and exaggerators. So be on the alert for that this month, because they could lead you on a merry little trail, and they could take your dollars, by the way. So think very seriously on that. Strengths, creativity. That means that you'll find yourself wanting to be creative, wanting to do things that are interesting. A weakness, naivety. Now, when I get liars and exaggerators and what to watch for, and a weakness is naivety, I'm very concerned that you could get suckered. So run everything past one of those friends that you trust, just to be sure that it is kosher or looks kosher if you're not sure. If you're absolutely sure and you absolutely trust that person, obviously go for it. But if you're not quite on board with it, or if it seems too good to be true, probably is. The Hierophant's in reverse, that means you will need to get higher knowledge or an expert's knowledge. It's really important this month for you, and I can see why, right? The Hierophant's all about that. He's got the knowledge that you don't have, so that's consulting with somebody who knows a little bit more about the situation than you do. Really be on your mettle for that. Now, as a big influence in the area of liars, exaggerators, and naivety, those two areas of what to watch out for, this could have a singularly large impact, and that's all Scorpios. I'm not even talking to Darlene just yet. I'll get there in a minute. The Ten of Cups, again, that's that complacency, you see, that just wanting to get along, wanting to have happiness and contentment. Sometimes we want that so much that we ignore the things that might cause ripples, and that can bring its own problems. There'll be a need to make a choice in September for you. With the Lovers is always about making the best choice. Put these things together, and I'd say that there's going to be at least one momentous period of time for you through September, Scorpio. The Lovers is always about the easiest choice can cause the biggest conflict, or it can cause Armageddon, people. So it's an important thing to understand that when you make a choice through different options, that you choose and explore and make sure that you are making the best choice, so that you're not having regrets later. And trust me, there will be a later. The Moon is reversed, so you won't be able to intuit your way through any of this. For whatever reason, your intuition's on the back step for the month, and so you may be easily swayed or influenced by what looks on the surface to be okay. For you particular, Darlene, what I've got here is that that willingness or that desire over this period to just have balance in your life, or balance in the people around you. Just want everybody to be friends, whatever that might be, that energy that's going on for you this month will allow you to be fooled a little bit. I had that horrible word cuckolded come into my head for no good reason, and I'm really sorry I said it out loud because it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. I'm almost embarrassed that it fell out of my mouth there. It's like, So it's a terrible thing. So with that word falling out of my mouth, do think about why that came up. I don't know where it came from, but because you won't be able to see clearly for yourself, and you won't be able to interpret the motivations of others, it will make it easier for you to fall prey, if you like. Now, this mightn't cost you money, although I did sort of feel money might be a part of it in general for Scorpio. Darlene, for you, it feels more like time. More than anything, it feels like time, potentially leading to money, but more about putting time into something, and then I can feel that at the end of it all, after weeks and weeks and weeks, there's that, that feeling of, I should have seen this coming. You know what I mean? I wish I'd noticed that. I should have noticed that. Yeah, Roger, if you're used to relying on your intuition, when it's not quite there for you, it's a bit of a blinder. Da-da-da-dum. I need sound effects. I'm going to start using my sound effects. I have got them on Clownfish. Tum, 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 tum. They're much more efficient than my personal repertoire. So I will start using them. So for my little vaudeville act, So that's what I've got for you specifically, Darlene, and I would just say you can save yourself a bit of time by really looking. If somebody wants you to contribute to their book, if they want you to contribute, these are the words I'm looking at with you, contribute to this, give them time for that. And they're offering either exchanges or they're offering that in return they'll give you this. Just feels like a lot of baloney right now. So, really think about that with you. I don't know if you wanted me to personalize that, Roger. And welcome, Gabriella. Ching, ching. I don't know if you want me to personalize that for you, but for you, it feels more that a person can take you down. It feels like a specific person for you, Roger, that will take you down because you just didn't expect them to be the way they were, I guess. So I guess it would be somebody you've had dealings with for a while by the way that it feels. But at the bottom end of that, I just get the idea it may still just be time for you too, but I feel like a bit of emotional distress in there, a little bit upset about that. So if you don't let them get ahead of the game, I know it's really hard when you're not using your intuition, but that's where the Hierophant comes in. If you're not sure, go consult somebody you trust, right? Go ask a friend, go ask a partner. I wonder what now gets the blame for everything. Okay, as we move right along, Taurus is next. Any Taurians in the house? The main influence is career. That means driving. Mags is a Taurian. Right, we've got her to personalize for when we get through the general. So for all Taurians, career, thinking about career, thinking about what you want to do to make money, thinking about how to make money, that kind of thing, thinking about whether you need to educate so that you can have a career. All of those influences are in play this month in September. What to watch for, and of course that could mean career opportunities, which of course, if somebody offers you a job, it doesn't matter if it's 2 hours a week or 10 hours a week or whatever it is, if career is on your mind, the chances are you are going to accept that or look at that or see that as a sign that it's time to think about that sort of thing. Watch out for gossip. So if somebody's bringing you gossip from somewhere else and you engage in it, I know you will get caught. If somebody else is gossiping to you, the idea is to just step back and go, no, not interested. Thank you. Bye. If you like that person, then do it in such a way that they know that it does make you think less of them, of course. But if you don't really care about that person, let them know they're a pain in the butt. Strength, finances, and income. You'll be able to put money first. You'll be able to work out the ways to save money. You'll be able to work out the best way to spend money and grow money. It's a really good period of time through September for Taurians to feather their nest, as it were. Weakness would be negative thinking. If you're going to go into little spirals of negative thinking in between little ups and then back to little downs, then it's probably quite important for you to listen to that negative thinking. We live in a culture where we get rid of pain, we ignore stuff, let's put it out the back door, let's meditate our way past it, let's go bliss out, and then we won't have to think about it. I'm not a real fan of that because it keeps coming back, doesn't it, when we least expect it. So I think it's probably a good time to address the negative thinking. Is it something that you regularly get into? Is it something that you've done before all the time, kind of a thing? And then look at where it comes from so you can really get it gone. 4 of Cups, bam, negative thinking, 4 of Cups right there. What happens there is when you have got something that does concern you, something that you are concerned about or have been thinking about in a negative way on and off maybe for years, as soon as somebody else tweaks that, as soon as somebody else says something that fires that up, then you go spiraling down. It can be as simple as somebody saying you're a bit silly or dissing your idea, whatever that might be. So it's quite a fascinating energy. We've got the Hermit. The Hermit knows what he knows. I know I've got my own light. I don't need anybody to help me out right now, thank you, or to tell me what I need to do. I know exactly where I'm heading. The Hermit's a wonderful energy. It's very self-sufficient, very self-reliant. He has the tools, the knowledge, the lighting of the way, the understanding of the path to just get on with it, basically. Feeling pleased with oneself, feeling pleased with oneself, feeling comfortable with one's knowledge, and there's that whole, I know where I'm going. I'm good right now. Now, that mightn't be true in a couple of months, but it's true for you in September. The 8 of Wands, things are moving, things that you may have been working towards or things that you've been hoping for. Suddenly you start to see movement in areas that have been sitting, stagnating, not going fast enough. It's a nice card for Taurians who aren't known for their patience. King of Wands. The King of Wands is the gift of the gab, that ability to master the energy of putting yourself out there, selling an idea. Again, this is a good energy for career moves. That means that when you've got an idea for something, it will be taken on board. People will listen. You will look like an attractive option to others, so it's quite powerful in that respect. And I already said the Four of Cups. For you personally, Mags, what we're looking at for September is I've got a rush of energy. That's probably the Eight of Cups. Rather than things moving from a stagnant position, although it might have been, it's all of a sudden it's too much going on. You know, it's almost like I've had like 5 minutes quiet. Isn't that nice? And then kaboom, everything's happening, which keeps you on your toes quite a bit. You'll be called upon for your opinion a lot. There's the King of Wands coming into play there, and you'll be able to service that opinion with a bit of authority, actually. You'll be quite pleased that you know how to offer your assistance, your advice, your guidance. It's not so much an advising card. It very much is an ideas card, so that your input is valued by others because it's carried with the authority of knowledge or the authority of experience. So whichever areas that comes into, you'll be very pleased at your ability to take the top end off that. The Hermit for you is very simple. You can see exactly what the next month or 2 or 3 is going to look like for you, and you do rather not need others to give their input. The problem with that for you is irritability when others try to tell you that you find yourself like, shoo, fly, get off, get away, back off, I know what I'm doing. So it's not solitary, the Hermit, by the way. The solitary part is more about the inner thing of I know what I'm doing rather than I'm all on my own. The Hermit isn't about separating from society. It's about not needing society. So there we go. That's the Hermit, and that's Taurus, and you specifically right there, miss. And then we go to Virgo. I've got to say that 3 times for Michelle, Virgo. We're there. So she's going to call on in. Now, Virgo, the main energy is calling in. She's calling in. Oh, Gabriella too. So I will specify that for you after I've done the general. Then I'll do Michelle who's calling in. Then I will do you if you don't want to call in. Dorica. So we've got Virgo, the main.
She's going to talk first.
I can hear you.
Oh, hi.
Hello, who are you?
I'm Monica.
Okay,
Michelle.
Monica, if you give me a minute, are you... Sorry?
I said I'm Michelle's friend.
Okay, if you give me a minute, I'll just get through. This is Michelle with you. Are you together?
Yes.
Okay, 2 seconds. I'll get through this, and then I'll pick you back up, okay? Thank you,
okay.
Monica. Okay, very good. Yielding. Now, yielding is giving way. It's not about giving up. So sometimes we can't push at things. We have to give way. As a main influence, you will yield. You'll yield to the will of others. You'll yield to life's plan. You'll yield to whatever's going on at the moment. But actually, it feels like a good thing. It doesn't feel like a bad thing at all for you. It may be that you've been pushing hard for a while for something and keep finding that brick wall in front of your face. Thank you, Dolores, and great having you in. What to watch out for? Bad news. Oh, it's a horrible thing, but that's what I've got to watch out for is bad news. Now, bad news is something that comes outside as a rule, rather than being the bearer of bad news. So it doesn't mean that it's, life-altering as such, but it will have an impact. Strength, direct vision, seeing directly through things, what you need to see, seeing exactly what's important without the peripherals in there. The weakness would be the past. So you may find yourself haunted a little bit by past actions, past failures, past stuff, things that you know as opposed to things that you're learning as we go through. We've got the Hanged Man. That's the yielding card to me here today, self-sacrifice. But self-sacrifice is willing in this case. That means we know what we need and this is the best way to get it. This is the best way to go forward. The best way to go forward is to give something up to gain something better. That's what the Hanged Man's all about. He's about, I accept what it is that I've got to do. I accept the punishment. I accept the consequence. I accept the requirement, whatever that might be. There is always a sacrifice. The sacrifice could be a bit of time. The sacrifice could be doing something that you don't want to do, but you willingly undertake it for the big reward, and there's always a big reward that follows the Hanged Man, however he comes into play. We've got the bad news. Now we've got this page. This is for all Virgos. Page of Wands in reverse. It's like it's a double whammy. So that means something coming in very suddenly as a message that you just didn't want to hear. But I advise you to hear it, and I advise you to deal with it so that it's not playing on your mind, not affecting your life, not changing you in a big, bad, negative way. Bad news can be anything, of course. This is very general for all the Virgos out there, but the chances are at some point this month you're going to be hearing something you don't want to hear, whether it's that the company you're working for is being merged. It doesn't, that's my point. It doesn't mean that, things are going to go to hell in a basket, but things are changing in a way that you don't want or don't like, that kind of thing. It's that requirement with the of something happening really to be bad news that you don't like. We've got the Ten of Cups again, and as I said at the beginning, there's a lot of the Ten of Cups kept coming on up there, that complacent feeling, that I just want everything to be happy, trissy la la. So you may need to focus, a number of these sun signs may need to focus on what is it you let slide, to not bounce things about, to not cause waves, to not cause the argument. What is it you let slide so you don't have to deal with what's really going on in the background, and start really thinking about that. And the Four of Swords is reversed. That means not taking the time to consider, not taking the time to think, not taking the time to push through your mindscape first before you put action out there. The Four of Swords isn't about just meditating. I hear it read as meditating all the time. What it is it's considering, mulling over, thinking. There's four swords all pointing in different directions, or they're crossed over at the middle, which gives you an 8. It's an octagon really, an octagonal shape, but there's all of these directions that are potentials, and only by ruminating, only by sitting quietly can we really find the true answer, not by racing around and listening to everybody or looking at the shining bright lights of Las Vegas. That's the one that we were thinking on. It's an interesting aspect that gets overlooked quite severely. Now, as it's a reversal and the past is a weakness, we don't want to be sitting there and just being focused on the past either. So if we're going to go into that mode of meditation, daydreaming, thinking, if it wanders off to the past, bring it back forward and allow that same energy to be used to determine the ways through whatever's going on now, the best way forward, whatever way it may be used constructively. And so now I'm back to Monica and Michelle. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Welcome. Okay, so Michelle, for you with this, personally, as I said, you're really going to have to just bite the bullet, and I think you're going to have to undertake either a job, or you're going to have to put yourself out there in a way that you're not really comfortable with, not really happy with. You're going to do that, you may need to give up something, but I do think that September is going to bring home that realization for you, that a sacrifice is going to have to be made so that you can get the reward, so that you can move forward in some way. I've got the bad news for you. Interestingly, I really feel I need to say that isn't crushing. I just need to say that out front, because I've got a bit of knowledge about Michelle's situation, so I thought I'd better put that in there. It doesn't feel pleasant, but I don't feel the heart dropping. I don't feel, all of that stuff. And for you, it feels to be almost the end of September when you get that bad news. But I think that it's going to cost you a lot of time and energy as opposed to anything else. And it's like a big fat, oh no, I don't need this right now. And that's the feeling I've got with that. With the rushing in, I've got that kind of feeling of you stepping in and perhaps rushing into a couple of things going forward that you really need to step back from and take your time with, to make sure that you get out of them the very thing that you want to get out of them. Because we're in September and that's the energy we're focusing on, we still have a consequence later on down the track. And while not necessarily needing to consistently put our mind way into the future, it's important to understand that if I do make this decision now, what does it mean for me in the future? What does it give me that I can't have if I don't do it? Or what does it save me from if I don't do it? So if you allow yourself to start moving that kind of thought, I think you'll be in a lot better shape by the end of September than you might be otherwise. There's a tendency, I just get this boom, just don't just do it kind of feeling, which I think I would have to advise you against right now. The complacency side of it is also a strong energy for you, because you've got direct vision. You know when you're doing it, right? And this is for all Virgos as well as Michelle today. That includes you, Gabriella. That when you know that you're being complacent, when you know you're sliding over the surface of something that's a little bit muddy, that's the time to stop doing that. Because it just gets worse, it doesn't improve. It's when we know that what we're doing is perhaps not the right thing to get us the best result, that it's time to switch it up. Poor Jenny's going, poor Virgos, they are always picked on every month. By whom? And so there we go. We've got a real challenge with that for you. It doesn't make it a bad month. It makes it a real solid decision-making month. You know, it's time to sit, relax, sort things out in a proper, considered fashion. Actually, it's time to grow up, says Gabriella, who is a Virgo. She's not picking on anybody. So it's a little bit of a challenge in its own way. So I hope that helps you, Michelle. And thank you, Monica, for being the go-between. And we'll just pop you back.
I actually had a quick question.
Yes, fire away.
Okay, I have a situation going on with my son's father. We have a court date in September, and I'm just kind of trying to decide, should I push the date or should I just go with the given date? And if I do push it, how long should I wait for us to go back to court?
I would go with the given date, because otherwise I just see it being a tit for tat over a period of time, and in the end it'll be something you'll want to put to bed. It'll be something you'll want to get over. If you don't take this date, I just see it going on and on and on, and it becomes a real, pardon the pun, but trial. So not very pleasant situation. So my personal thoughts on it as I'm looking forward are that you can get this over and done with very quickly if you want.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I'll leave you on the call, but I will put you on mute as we move. You're going to tell that to your son, are you? Now, actually, it is true what Jenny said. I've done a lot of these monthly readings, and for maybe the last 2 years, Virgo's had a bit more than their fair share. So I think it's a really good thing to finish the show out with, since we've got to the end now. That it's been a challenging couple of years, I think, for Virgos, because they come up quite often with these difficult energies, with these change in the wind, and it's always change in the wind, change in the wind, change in the wind, not quite motivating that into the real scape. Now, what you need to understand is these are influences, and if you see an influence you don't like, think about it. Think about what you can do differently, because it's only an influence. Whatever your sun sign is, just as an example, a self-sacrifice for one Virgo could be determining that I'm not going to buy an ice cream, or I'm not going to buy coffees this week so that I can have that extra $40 for something else. Sacrificing one thing, right, to get something better. That's what the Hanged Man stands for. For another Virgo, it could be not buying that car that they really would like so they can go on a honeymoon with their newly engaged partner, that kind of thing. For another person, it might be doing a job you just don't want to do every day, or for another person, it might be going to work when they'd rather stay at home with the kids. They're sacrificing time with their toddlers to go out and earn the money, but then the money comes in handy to provide for those very same children. So that's what the Hangman's all about. The bit of a bad news thing coming from outside is pretty unfortunate, but again, bad news for one person and can be fairly minor for another person. It can be fairly major, but that energy is in there and you're getting plugged. So because Virgo has had sort of more of its fair share of difficulties over the last couple of years, or the couple of years that I've been doing this sort of thing, I would suggest that it's something that they can work against that influence. They can work to get out from under, if you like, and think about what the continuing energy is, which for me is always seems to have been, I'm reading that there's change in the wind, there's change required, not necessarily change. Now, there's another Virgo there that because they've done that work, because they've made that change inside themselves, is the one that just sacrificing the ice cream or the coffee to get something better rather than these big major deals. So think also about that for yourself. Roger says, change in the wind is a great opportunity to channel the changes you desire. Absolutely. The first thing one does to create change is to start looking at what the change is that is required. And it's always going to be starting from inside you, whether it's a belief, whether it's letting something go, whether it's starting something you've put off, whatever that might be. And if you're one of these Virgos that's sort of been sitting on your laurels hoping that the world's going to bring change to you in a way that you would like, the chances are pretty good that you're in that zone where it becomes a more serious energy for you, a more challenging and a more difficult energy for you. Now, it does look like at this moment that this show will be about 2 hours every month. So expect that for those that are into that. We're going to let it go now. We're going to move along. But thank you, everybody, for listening. And remember that, you don't need to be a part of your own problem. And all I'm doing, why I got confused is I wanted to do this, see?
Are you looking for a place to meet like-minded people? Perhaps you're a light worker looking for a safe place to share your thoughts and services. We've got a place for you. IntuiTalks.com. Join for free, post updates, blogs, create and join groups via website or radio or class package. The possibilities are endless. Join the all-spiritual, all-under-one-roof network, www.IntuiTalks.com.
Ciao for now, everybody.